Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. It is the Daily Dish. Welcome, everyone. Cheers. God, I'm serious. My hair is wet. Sorry, guys. Just came home and got myself in the shower, and you gotta wash your hair. Well, look who is here. This little thing is just going crazy. First of all, cheers to Mother Hen, who's driving and listening at the same time. That's cool. Deborah, hello. Jackie, good to have you here. Jocelyn, Doris, Alice. The lovelies are showing. Catherine, I'm glad you're here. Yay. Hi, Jane. Jane's in the house. All's well. Anyway, it's Wise Women's Wednesday. And this week we've been talking about basically stupid stuff my coaching clients have told me. But behind all of that, what is it? It's excuses. And today we're going to unravel some excuses. I think it's a good idea because we hide behind them. I'm just going to say that. It's because it's so true. We hide behind them. And we're going to unpack them a little bit. Tomorrow we're going to wind the whole thing up. And by gum, we're gonna get down to the bottom line of all of this, because you know what it is that we want to do better, don't we? But anyway, I'll get into the whole thing. It just amazes me that people will pay me actual money and then throw down excuses on why they can't do what I've suggested that they do. Come on. We got to think about those things, right? So we're going to talk about that. Meanwhile, how about that blowout sale? Have you been blowing it out? I sure hope so, because everything's almost gone. I don't even know what's left right now. I haven't done a big count. But if you go to savingdinner.com/blowout, all one word, that's where you will find the remaining dregs of what we have left, right? Y'all, we sell stuff and it's going. It's almost gone. I know that we're out of selenium. I know the Bio-Omega-3X is gone, and a few other things, like we're down to just dribbles. So if you want to take advantage of this, it's buy one, get two for free. Screaming deal. Don't let the grass grow under your feet on this one. I'm serious. Also, we have our Carousel of Crazy. It's on sale. If you buy the Carousel of Crazy, you will get the workbook for free. Now, this book was written out of my desire to bring people back to the realization that we are whole women, not just a dress size, not just a tube of lipstick, not just what we look like, but we're whole women. When we address the whole women, then we can address things that we want to take care of, like maybe a little excess belly fat or whatever. We can do that. But we have to be accepting and loving of ourselves before that can happen at all. So that's what's happening here. Etsy store, you can find it at savingdinner.com/Etsy. Free shipping, of course. If you buy $300 worth of items in our shop, guess what we're going to do? We're going to reward you with free shipping. As long as you live here in the United States, that's all I care about, So keep an eye on that. Also, our quote of the week is going to rock your world, especially if you're a James Clear fan like I am. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. But doing the same thing over and over again and staying the course is the definition of consistency. Right? Like James Clear says, you have to fall in love with boredom. It does get boring. Not gonna lie, I get bored lifting weights. I'm sorry. There are other people who are just on fire for it. I get bored with it. I don't get bored playing pickleball. That's fun. But I get bored with that. Interesting, isn't it? So think about that when consistency hinges on boredom sometimes, because sometimes you don't want to do it. That's all there is. Alrighty, let's get busy. We're going to talk about these excuses that we've been talking about all week because there's some psychology behind them. And I want you to know this. I want you to know this deep down inside when you find these excuses come flying out of your mouth. And especially if you are sitting down in the coaching seat, right with me, if you're sitting down in the coaching seat next to me, and you start giving me these excuses, I'm going to come all over you like white on rice. You know why? Because I care about you and I'm not going to let you get away with it. And you know why else? You're paying me. And if you're paying me and giving me excuses, I'm not going to back away. I'm still going to get on top of it. Okay? I'm still going to get on top of it. I'm still going to get on top of you. I'm still going to say to you, that's not good enough. Because it's not. And we all do it, but we have to understand that oftentimes what are our excuses anyway, but a protective shield to stay the same, to not disrupt the status quo, to not feel inadequate. Because when we are in this position where we're getting coached or we're in a position where we're trying to figure things out, our excuses are oftentimes a shield for us so that we don't feel inadequate about ourselves. We have to look at this because there's fears, there's failures, there's stepping out of the comfort zone. All of that is involved when it comes to leaving the excuses behind. And it's risky and it's hard and it, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to invest in yourself in the way that feels good for you. And it would feel good for you when you're not stuck in this zone of comfort, because those excuses are like the throw pillows on your couch, on your comfort couch. How do you like that for an analogy? So one of my favorites is, I'm just not a morning person. Well, I hear this, a lot. And I come back to that and I say, yeah, but yes, you are. We are all morning people because this is honoring of our circadian clock. I can't tell you how many people have said that to me. I'm just not a morning person. Hey there, Jennifer. I'm glad you're here. Well, this is a belief that our habits and tendencies are hardwired and they cannot be changed. That's just the way I am. And that is emphatically not true. It is not, because we all have the same DNA. Now, get me, sometimes genetically we have more of a tendency to maybe want to be a night person rather than a morning person. But that can be changed because it's to our detriment that happens. And I want to bring you into this place of understanding that there's a circadian clock inside each and every one of us. And when we're honoring to it, then we're helping our body to work better, helping our brains to work better. We're creating better neural pathways in our heads. We talked about that yesterday, about the neural pathways that we create with the thoughts that we think, and also how our reticular activating system is activated by those thoughts. And we want to make sure that we're activating the right thought so that we can be going out there with our radar and picking up the evidence that we want to support the thing that we want, not the thing that we don't want, right? So there's a combat strategy, because recent studies in chronobiology show that while we might have natural inclinations toward being a morning or a night person, our sleep patterns can be adjusted with consistent effort. And I want to say this right now. Please hear me. If you look at what the biggest needle movers are in, just like if you want to lose weight, you want to feel better, you want to stop whatever it is, get your sleep dialed in, because you cannot function without enough sleep. These two things, believe it or not, you'll make better decisions when you have adequate sleep. You're not going to just reach for the Oreos or the chips or whatever it is. You're not going to just do that because you're tired. you make better decisions, and you're going to be better planned out. You're going to feel so much better. Staying up till midnight, 1 o'clock, or whatever, this is my only time, is oftentimes the thing that I hear. It's not a thing. It is not a thing if it disrupts the quality of your life, and it does. So what is your strategy then? How are we going to combat this? What's the strategy? Well, understand that there's this thing that you can put on your screen. Gosh, it's free. I have it on mine. I can't remember the name of it, but it's free and you can download it, and it dims the blue light on the back of your screen. We're talking about your laptop and also your phone or your iPad or whatever. And it makes a difference because the blue light is the thing that boing, keeps you awake and keeps the chatter alive in your head. So there's that. The other thing is that when you maintain a consistent bedtime and wake up time, you just naturally feel better and more refreshed. We need to get up. We need to be able to get up and do the things that we need to do to set the tone for the day. We cannot set the tone for the day if we're slogging through. So get up off the couch and put yourself to bed like a big girl. Okay? I'm talking to all of you. Get up off the couch and put yourself to bed like a big girl. Let your spouse know, hey, I need to dial back my bedtime. I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling good. And then, the other thing is, first thing in the morning, if you can, and if it's available, even if you have to bundle up, get out for just a quick 10-minute walk. Light. When you get the light into your eyeballs, especially, and can you do it without sunglasses, for heaven's sakes, for just this minute? It helps to set the clock in your body. So this is a huge thing that we can do. So when you say I'm not a morning person, it's just that you haven't attempted these things, And we've done I think we did a sleep webinar not too long ago and went through all of these things. And I will just say that what I have seen, what I have noticed, and how I felt myself is that when we get rid of this, I'm just not a morning person garbage, and start embracing our mornings and start understanding what our circadian clocks are about, that we're going to start feeling better, aren't we? I know we are. Just absolutely. Hey, Sue. The other thing we need to do, and this is another excuse that I have heard over and over and over again, and that is, I could never do X. I could never not have X. I hear this all the time with coffee. I can never not put creamer in my coffee. Creamer and sugar, or creamer and Splenda, or creamer or whatever. And you know what? This is an excuse that's, according to psychologists, that's rooted in failure or fear of judgment. And especially when I could never try that. I could never do that. And it stems from low self-esteem and actually a fixed mindset. That is not growth mindset at all. And I remember for me, I remember saying this myself, I could never not have half and half in my coffee. And I remember when I made the mental switch, it was like, click. Because I asked myself this question, is that the truth? Or is that just me being stubborn? I could never give up this. Oh, sure I can. I'm just not going to like the first few cups of coffee without it. And I can do this. It is well within the realm of my power to do this. It's just I don't want to. I don't want to. And I'm afraid of failure. You could put all of that in there. But if we embrace a growth mindset, I've got that sitting here. I'm not going to pull it out now. But, the growth mindset is one of looking for possibility, of seeking solution, of saying, well, why don't I try this? Why don't I give it a shot? Why don't I do this? And we know that we have the ability to do it because we just don't have to put it in there, right? If we're talking about that, we know that we have the intelligence to be able to understand that maybe this is the holdup that I've been having in my life. So all we have to do is then step back and just give it a shot. Say, why not? Let's do this. Let's give it a week of that. Is that going to kill you? Is that going to do you in? And I will tell you, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing. It's a small thing, especially if this has been a habit of yours for eons. For me, I gave up, I'm going to say it was probably about 10 years ago that I gave up half and half in my coffee. I was 55 years old 10 years ago. And previous to that, I mean, I started drinking coffee regularly when I was a freshman in high school, a freshman in college, rather. Yeah. So do the math. That's a long time to go having things done in a certain way. But you know what? I believed that it was also holding me back from what I wanted. I believed that it was also, it was wrecking my thyroid because I really needed to get off the dairy. And I did not know this at the time, but I found out later that having that dairy in my coffee and taking my thyroid medication was really making my thyroid medication useless. There's a lot connected with that. And it's just having that attitude that says, I just can't, when actually you can. So seek other people, just seek others that have done this. Yes, you can do this. You are plainly intelligent enough and capable. It's just a matter of maybe you don't want to, but maybe you do want to when you consider the rewards on the other side. Number 3 that I hear a lot is it's just too hard. Okay, like pinkies up if you've ever said that. I'm going to put mine up because, of course, I've said that. And you know what that is, though? It often stems from a lack of self-confidence. It's too hard. You look at it and you go, oh, I'm intimidated by it. It is a lack of self-confidence because it's based on maybe the past experience that you have had where it was too hard. Why don't we want to try again? Because we don't want to be seen as being this failure. We're worried about what it says. So when we do this, we need to understand this. The way that we combat this whole thing is understanding, again, back to the neuroplasticity. We can build the neurons necessary to make those neural pathways, and we can adapt and create new neural connections. At any age, we're not set in stone. I don't know about you. Thank you for pinkies up. Thank you for 2 people who have told the truth. Right? I know there's more of you out there, by the way. Yeah, of course you've said it's too hard. But this, here's the thing. We can adapt. We can, regardless of past experiences, we can become more than enough. We can get to the next thing. We can stop saying it's too hard. Or we can, what we can start saying instead? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try this. It might be out of my league, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go for the gold. Go for the gold. So what do you need to do to get this done? Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Take a look at it and say, okay, so what am I trying to accomplish here? What is it that can break these things down into smaller little chunks so that it can be digestible? It's eating the elephant one bite at a time, right? What that does is it reduces the perceived difficulty of the task at hand, and it increases the likelihood that you'll start in the first place. Isn't that great? We can't build Rome in a day, but we can certainly take that one brick and put it down and start laying the foundation. We can also visualize, if I did this, this is what that's going to look like. I coached more than one woman who's lost over 100 pounds on with my coaching. I've been a coach, for 20 something years, and they're overwhelmed. Over 100 pounds, that's a lot of weight. That takes a long time, and we lose an ounce at a time. We don't necessarily lose it a pound at a time, but we gotta start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere. So you can start visualizing and seeing yourself. This is one of the things I often do in my coaching is there's an intake, and I do it with my hot seats. This is 1 year from now, you're walking into a room and you're seeing people you haven't seen for a long, long time. What do you look like? What are you thinking about? What are you all about at this time? You've completed your goal. You've nailed it. What's life like for you right now? When we can start doing that and start seeing ourselves with a whole different thing going on, we can start working our way to that visualization. But you know what? This is a mental rehearsal that primes your brain for what it is that you need to do next. Remember the piano player? They did this with the little thingies on their head, and the brain waves are exactly the same as if you've done it versus if you are rehearsing it. They showed that with the concert pianist, whether he was playing the piano or playing the desktop, the brain waves were exactly the same. In other words, yes, you can manipulate your outcomes simply by manipulating your own brain, because that is how your brain operates. And when you celebrate these wins along the way, and not just look at the whole, the long-term thing, but instead look at where you are today and what you've accomplished so far, and you start celebrating those things, you see yourself in a different light. You see yourself as an accomplished woman. I can do this, to the next thing, and to the next thing, to the next thing. Alice has a great thing. She says, I have this quote pinned up where I can see it throughout the day. Just because something is hard doesn't mean I can't do it. That's exactly right. And just because it might seem on the overwhelming side or a lot, it doesn't mean that you have to do it all at one time. It's bringing it back to what our quote of the day is from Atomic Habits, from James Clear, how excellence in doing the same thing over and over again, and consistency can be a little dull and a little boring, but it's necessary. And it means that even if it's hard, you can just do just this one thing. Make that one lunch, take an extra little bit of a walk, pick up a weight, and do some bicep curls. You could do those right now while you're listening to me. These are things that develop our brains as well as our bodies, and create different chemicals in our bodies and make us feel really good about ourselves, because those are wins. Let's count those wins during the day. By the way, that's exactly what this is recognizing and celebrating small achievements. It boosts your motivation and it boosts your confidence as well. And it helps you carry you to the next day, where here we go again, same old deal. So why do people use these excuses especially when they're paying for a coach? I think that sometimes when you're paying for a coach, it can amplify your fear of failure. Like, if I can't do it with her, if I can't if I can't get successful with her, then that's just it. This is my last stop. That's a lot of things there. And there's additional pressure to succeed because there's money involved. And it makes the prospect of failure even more daunting. But I want to say this, that should you consider, I don't even know if I have any coaching slots open anymore right now, but if you're interested, you can send an email to support@savingdinner.com and we'll take a look at my schedule. But if you were doing something like this, the way to successful coaching is open communication and discussing your fears with your coach, right? You discuss your fears, you discuss your concerns, and we tailor the strategies to make sure that you can buck these fears and that you feel encouraged and strong. Because for me, I'm tough, but I'm also understanding and loving, and I know that there's a custom plan out there for you. We just have to figure that out. That's all. Remember, everything's figure outable. That's how that works. The other thing is that I've seen this before, and we've seen it in our group. Tanya's done it, right? Commit publicly to what you're going to do. Commit. So you go into the Hot Melts group, sprint group, and say, this is where I am. This is what I'm, aim to accomplish. And I'd love your encouragement and your help. I'd love to stay accountable. This is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. And then, go get yourself an accountability partner. We call them body clutter buddies, and go from there. These are the things that actually move the needle, but not if you just show up big and then, you're gone the next week. What was it that I saw with Tanya's, I don't know, she posted yesterday, it was day 864, something like that. Look at that. That's the excellence of consistency right there. And then if we journal, we can get a little introspective. And I believe journaling is one of the best, most freeing ways that we can start taking care of ourselves and self-coaching and self-counsel, because journaling helps us to understand the patterns that we're dealing with. I'm going to tell you this, we all have some kind of a pattern. The other thing is that, if you're going to do something innovative, you're going to do something a little lesser, whatever, some other things that you can add in is creating the environment that you need to have. You got to change your environment up. You cannot have, a pantry full of garbage and then expect that you're just going to have this incredible willpower to say no. Really? I would have a hard time with that. I told Mark, he's not allowed to buy this certain kind of chocolate that I like. Don't buy it. Please don't buy it. It has hazelnuts in it and it's just delicious. I love it. But I will eat, I'll eat one little piece and then maybe I'll have another one. So I have to, for the most part, I skip chocolate altogether because it is a trigger food for me. But I can have like a little piece of very dark chocolate with almonds in it, but the hazelnut ones are off the table. Got to get away from that. Isn't that weird? But it's just, I know myself. These are the things that I can tolerate. These are the things I cannot. These are the things that are going to trigger me, and these are the things that won't. He's got ice cream in the freezer. I won't eat ice cream. He's probably eating it right now. I don't eat ice cream. It could sit there. If he were gone tomorrow, say he was out of here for a month, it'd get icicles all over it. Doesn't bother me. I'll just look at it and say, okay, there's ice cream. That's crazy. But your environment is one of the biggest needle movers in the entire planet. You have the positivity all around you, and you have the food situation set up the way you need to have it, and you got your workout clothes out, you're ready to go. Whatever it is, that's the thing that's going to change everything. There's this other thing called temporal discounting, and that's understanding that the human brain often overvalues immediate rewards and undervalues future benefits. It's true. So remind yourself of these long-term benefits that you're trying to create in your life. Instead of going for easy, instead of going for that instant gratification, tell yourself you're better than that. We're not microwave ovens. We don't need to be treated like dogs do when they perform a trick. We don't need to have this stuff. We need to remind ourselves that long-term, this is what I want. Way more than this at the beginning. Have that conversation. Have that conversation with yourself. And then here's the other thing. This is a really good one. It's called temptation bundling. So what you're going to do is pair something you love with a task you're avoiding. So, for example, if you have a favorite podcast that you like to listen to, I have a podcast that I love listening to, that I listen to, the Aliquot that I listen to. I pay for this. This woman is so good. Rhonda, I don't know what her last name is, but she's a scientist, and I listen to her stuff because her stuff is always about science and nutrition and all this other kind of stuff. And she's done the research and she digs deep on stuff. So I listen to that. But you know what else I do? I put it on my ear pods, and then I go and do something like, maybe I'm going to take an extra long walk. Maybe I'm going to do something else. But I've got the reward in my ears and I've got the task in front of me. And guess what? It works. It works. This is what I'm going to do so that I can tolerate X. So remember that excuses can temporarily shield us, right, from any kind of discomfort, but they rob us of growth and achievement and of our goals and of our dreams. So when we understand and combat these self-imposed barriers by trying some of these things, we pave the way for our dreams. We pave the way for our goals. We pave the way for the vibrant life that we are truly wanting. It all goes together, So don't forget, the next time you dismiss yourself with some kind of inane goal, inane excuse, hear it, notice it, and then flip it, right? Flip it and say, yes, I can do this. all things are figure outable, and you're living proof. Are you with me? Pinkies up? I sure hope so. Hey, Trish. That's it. That's all I have for you on this Wise Women's Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to wrap this whole thing up. It's going to be fun. And that's it. That's all I have for you. Do not forget about the blowout sale. There's barely anything left, but there's still something left. So go to savingdinner.com/blowout. And remember, anything that you have missed, any announcements that you've missed are at savingdinner.com/announcements. Thank you so much for joining me today. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.